Hi guys, I'm Blair from goodsignal.com. Today's landing page review is all about simplicity, and by the end of this video you'll have a really good idea of how to make some small changes to your own site to improve the effectiveness of your landing page and to increase the likelihood of turning your visitors into customers. So for today's review, it's TwitPic. It's a website for sharing photos on Twitter. And when you arrive on the landing page, the first thing you notice is just how little information there is on the screen at any one time. You've got the logo in the top left, you've got some images down on the left hand side, some more down in the right hand corner here, a few navigation links at the bottom for secondary sort of pathways, and the only text is this little portion here with a massive call to action button above it. So right from the start, you're not overwhelmed by information and you're not overwhelmed by choice. And in fact, it looks like it's going to be pretty easy to read and understand what this page or site is all about, and right away you can see what you need to do to take action. So it's quite inviting and it doesn't look overwhelming, so that's a big tick. For many sites that we look at, there is way too much text, paragraph after paragraph of explanatory information, which is usually quite unnecessary. So this site's kind of got it right by keeping the volume to a minimum. The second thing which I think the site does really, really well is the actual text that it uses, and it's text. And what I'm talking about is the headings. So for your first visit to this website, one of the primary questions you're going to have is, what is TwitPic? And to use those words as a heading is a really smart thing to do, because it's going to connect with your visitors quite quickly. That's what they have in their minds, and when they see something which is formed as a question with a sentence underneath, they immediately and intuitively can see that they're going to get the answer to their questions. So that's a really smart thing to do. The second question or the second heading that they've used here is another question. This time it's, how do I use TwitPic? So once again, these two questions are probably the first things on people's minds. What is it and how do I use it? And to answer those questions in as fewer words as possible is really smart design, because people are busy. They want to rapidly absorb information and decide whether to stay or to go further into the site. And you don't need to write paragraphs upon paragraphs to do that. So that's the first principle, really. And urge you to go and take a look at your own landing page and see if you can prune out the text. And a good rule to use is take out half, then take out half again. The next thing that I want to look at on this particular landing page is the call to action. And I think it's quite unusual, because look how big this button is. There's no supporting or explanatory information. It's relying on the fact that you understand what the service is and how to use it. And it's a really simple choice. You're either going to go ahead and log in or create an account or not. The things that I want to focus on, however, is the button design itself. Quite often people's calls to actions don't look like calls to actions. The buttons don't really look like buttons, or they're obscured, or their function is not obvious and intuitive. And this is a concept which in design terms is known as affordance, which is basically the understanding of how to interact with an object. So when you see this particular button, it looks like a button. It's got nice rounded corners. It's got a little bit of a gradient shade, a bit darker here, a bit lighter in the middle, and a bit darker at the top again. When you put your mouse over it, it turns to a lighter color. So you're getting positive feedback there, and you understand that to mean that this is a site control that you can interact with. And notice how the mouse pointer changes from pointer to a hand icon. So for a whole raft of reasons, this is a really good call to action and a really good button. But the question I want to put to you is, what do you think of A, its size, and B, its placement? I can understand that being so big is good, because people aren't going to miss the button and it's really easy to click on because it's so massive. But has it gone too far, and does it look like a banner or some sort of general style graphic? And secondly, the information in the text is down here. Would it be more logical and intuitive to have the button beneath? Or is this a button for regular users, and therefore you want to have it in a prominent position? And I think there's two arguments there, one for each side. So how about you leave me a comment below and let me know whether you think the button is too big and whether it should be placed where it is, or perhaps moved in between the text and this popular users box. So for the full review, head across to goodsignal.com and leave me a comment.